You're now listening to the show about the shit in life that's just a bit too much, from the perspective of stand-up comics, with our hosts, Carmelo Bongiovi and Ken Krantz. This week's topic, everything hurts. This is A Bit Too Much.
He had bat nipples. Those fucking
George Clooney.
George Clooney had fucking bat nipples.
That dude was the worst Batman
what
ever.
a crazy design idea. Like, it's normal for them to do the armored like pecs and abs, which is always weird anyway.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's hard metal or whatever, like a hard plastic or whatever it is. It's supposed to be some sort of armor. But why do they, like, I can appreciate the modern one where it just looks like these like abstract like slats of metal. Like, why do they put pecs and abs?
That's like a vanity thing, right? Because that armor was designed.
Yeah.
So, you know, like Bruce Wayne had to be like, oh, can you make it look like I'm
Right.
make it look like I'm ripped.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's
it's like an intimidation. Maybe it's like, oh, when they see me up close, they're going to shit their pants.
But like, wouldn't even a villain be like, did you fucking put abs?
I'd be
Did you
laughing
put
at
fucking
it.
abs on your fucking suit, dude? That thing's bulletproof. Like, those are obviously not your abs. It's like putting filters on Instagram photos these days. Like, that is in your face. But the Clooney one had nipples.
Yeah.
And I just, it's annoying. It's like, if you wanted to go that route, you should have went more that route. Make a dick on it and stuff. Like, or don't go that route at all.
Yeah.
But I think, besides those two, and those are entertaining in their own way. Like, Jim Carrey's in one of them.
No, those were terrible.
They're horrible. They're horrible. But I think to like kids, they were still huge movies.
Yes.
Those were massive fucking box office hits.
Probably I don't know
because
if the George Clooney one I don't
maybe
think
the fourth
was.
one, was it?
I think that's what like
did it flop?
I don't know if it
I feel like it couldn't have.
I know it bombed with like critics and
universally recognized as a terrible movie.
Yeah, but then they didn't make another Batman movie for until
I think
Christian
they were like,
Bale.
let's not do
So
that. Right, those were great.
Yeah,
and the fucking new one with Twilight is fucking. Those are great. That one's good.
That's a great Batman movie.
It's a
The
great
Robert
Batman movie,
Pattinson
and
one.
the Penguin show on HBO was fucking fantastic.
Yes,
that was such a good show. It was like one of those things where I kind of thought it was going to be like the way I felt watching the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, where it's like, yeah, but there's no Batman. This is fucking annoying. Like, you're just like going to pretend that you're in a world without him, or that he's not here. They do a like halfway decent job of just kind of like letting you know why, and then it's just a straight up forget about if that wasn't the Penguin, and that was in Gotham City, and that was just a show that was exactly that, not acknowledging anything Batman like, and that was just a unique character. That would have been a pretty great show.
Yeah, so would have been. Yep.
Yeah. So Ken, do you feel numb? Is that where your point is about all this, about what's going on in the world? You just feel like everyone's a bit apathetic and numb to the world?
Yeah, it does feel like so much crazy shit is happening, and people just care less and less.
Yeah.
Like I feel like with even with the election, like all the never Trumpers that I knew and all the liberals that were, this is the most important election ever. It's literally for our democracy's its sake. And then it was like Trump wins, and then the next day everyone was just like, all right, well, fuck it, I guess.
Yeah. I guess you just get tired of being enraged, though, or emphatic, right? Like on both sides of the spectrum, it's just what we've put ourselves through in the past 3 elections is so goddamn exhausting. It's like if you think about 2016 and how this guy kind of came out, not out of nowhere in terms like everyone knew him, but you know what I mean? Like kind of out of nowhere politically, the whole sort of like birther right thing with Obama that like led into him wanting to run. I mean, it just felt like a joke, and then he wins and you're like, wait, I'm sorry, what just fucking happened? And then it was kind of a whirlwind for the next, 8 years, because then there's another election, then he loses. You're like, all right, he's gone. and whoever, but on the other side of it, for anyone who was a true Trumper or just a Republican, was like, oh no, we'll be back. We'll take this loss. We'll be back. And they knew they'd be back tenfold, where I feel like if you were on the other side, you didn't think that was going to resurface the way it did.
This dude has done so many things because like when I grew up, it was like if a politician slipped up, like there was a couple taboo things where if a politician did it,
they were done.
That was it. That was the end.
Yeah.
Cheating on your wife, and any of that shit.
I mean, do you remember obviously you do, and anyone who was around and out of an age where you can understand what's going on. Do you remember what a giant fucking story the Bill Clinton scandal was?
Yeah.
The Monica Lewinsky, Bill Clinton. I mean, that was such a giant thing to think that not that far in the future, we'd have a situation where it's like, yeah, and?
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
Right? Doesn't that seem like that was
Well, I mean, think about it. Like, Dan Quayle spelled potato wrong.
Yeah.
Right? He threw an E at the end of potato. And that was pretty much the end because people were like, oh, we can't have a dummy running shit. That was pretty much the end. I don't remember the dude's name.
You fucking idiot.
But I can't remember the dude's name.
Is that a potato?
Yeah.
You fucking moron.
But
you should die.
Do you remember the dude that got too excited while he was campaigning? This was maybe like 20 years ago. The guy that was like, we're going to Delaware and then Pennsylvania and then Ohio. Woo! And like, he was just so enthusiastic. And then people were like, fuck is this? This dude is way too into this. I can't remember his name. But like that ended, like one soundbite used to be enough to end you. And then I remember.
Everyone was watching the same news though. Everyone was seeing the same few networks report on something. And the same few late night hosts joke about something. And then that was all the information. Everything else was water cooler talk.
Yep.
Right? I think that's part of the numbing of us is like that now we have so much information.
I remember 2016 when Trump started going after McCain and, like being a shitty POW.
Yeah, it was like
for getting caught.
Like losers get caught.
I just remember being like, okay, well, that's it. Like that, you can't do that.
Yeah, the Republican Party was surely,
especially Republicans.
Yeah, like they'll surely not support this guy. McCain was a very respected person of that party.
Yeah,
internally or just in general. I mean, people in both parties respected McCain. And you're like, there's no way.
I was just. You just grew up believing like, oh, there's things you can do or say that will ruin your political aspirations, and then that didn't do it, and then like the Stormy Daniels thing, and then you're like, all right, well that's for sure gonna do it. And then nothing did it, and you just realized
grabbing pussy thing.
Yeah, oh yeah, the grabbing the pussy. You're like,
you're like this guy. In the end, and hopefully this levels out to a place where it doesn't have to be so extreme. But I will say, if you want to be fucking glass half full about it, I'll say one thing that the guy did was show you the power of going, so what? Because do you know what I mean? Because there is something to that in the sense that. Prior to that, any uproar, this is like not just politics. This is like, whatever, cancel culture. This is like people reacting over fucking video games, public interest groups kind of making an uproar about maybe a celebrity who said something. It's like any time for a long time, if you made like, it really wasn't that any press was good press. Like if you had bad press, you were fucking done. It would just cook you. You'd be like, oh, that's the guy who did that stupid thing. Right. And I think what he did was show that, and I hate to even say this in a complimentary way, but really there is a lesson to be taken from that. I think what he did was show us that you can go like, and I'm not budging.
Yeah.
If you just don't jump to the apology, you could actually withstand the storm a little bit, even if you're completely blatantly wrong about shit.
Yeah, the grab him by the pussy thing was wild because And then he was like, well, that's locker room talk.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, like locker room talk is, man, I would love to be able to grab them by the pussy, or I wish I could grab them by the.
Yeah.
Like
not I
that
did.
just, yeah, that just sounded like an admission of sexual
locker room-
assault.
Locker room of a jail. Like, there's gyms in jails, and there's locker rooms in the.
But he was just like, oh, yeah, I just grab him by the pussy. And then all these women came out, were like, well, since he brought it up, he grabbed me by the pussy.
Right.
And then nobody cared.
I gotta be honest, pussy doesn't really call for a grabbing. You know what I mean? There's so much you can do with a pussy. Like, I never think, oh, I just fucking palm that thing like somebody dropped a coconut in my hand. Like, that's such a odd. It's such an aggressive way to speak. Grab them. Like, I mean, you're talking about grabbing a human being by any body part. Never mind like a fucking part like that, right? It's like even that is so telling. The aggression in saying, I just grabbed these women.
You know what was so funny about that? The only person that lost their job was Billy Bush. Like. The dude, like the guy interviewing him that just heard him say it and didn't know how to react. Yeah. They were like, oh, this guy's got to go.
Yeah, you can't. You can't hang, brother.
But I
Think
feel
of the name
like,
Mike Bush,
you know,
be able to
listen,
talk about this stuff.
I feel like the first 4 years of Trump, for me, it was so much anxiety of just waking up every morning and checking Twitter. Like, what did this asshole do overnight?
There was so much tweeting. I almost forgot how much he tweeted while he was in the White House.
Yeah.
just while, think about presidents right up until, like through Obama, right up until Trump. You did not know anything going on in the White House unless there was a camera in the White House for a press conference or something like that. This motherfucker, you actually could paint the picture in your head. You're like, this fucking guy's in a onesie pajama with a fucking long nightcap on. He just had McDonald's. He's like doing that thing where like you get really, when you first get really comfy under like cold comforter, like you just could really picture the guy just like in his nighttime persona being like, oh, this is going to be a good one. And just tweeting at fucking 2 a.m. I mean, the times that some of these tweets early on were fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
Just even the time that he would choose to tweet.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Listen, I was I'm a comedian that like, you work late hours.
Yeah.
So it's like some nights you go to bed at 1 or 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
And this dude hasn't tweeted. And then you wake up at like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And then
you're like, I should have been able to catch us.
You're like, you don't know.
Hours.
Yeah. Is he antagonizing like a nuclear nation, or is he like fighting with Snyder from one day at a time? Like you have you have no idea what's coming. But now I'm like, all right, I guess I just don't fucking care. And like I think the apathy.
I think that's a good point. Is like that's the mood.
Yeah, I'm like I just don't care.
I felt that.
I uninstalled, I just deleted Twitter off my phone.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'll never, ever look at it,
Yeah, it's like right through election night, the whole country is fired up.
Yeah.
Like through I stayed up and watched the results.
I didn't.
Pretty much until like they pretty much made a decision. And it was interesting because I like to switch back and forth, and you were seeing different states being called before other states on different networks, but like by like a big difference. And it's one of those things that just annoy you. Like, this should be a pretty straightforward thing, right? Like, did that state have enough votes to go one way or the other, or not? Why is Fox telling me something different than CNN? Which one do I believe or not believe? And also, do I have to think about who I believe or not believe per state? Or per red or blue. Like, it's not even like I can't say that one was just blatantly lying and the other one wasn't. So it's just or maybe it was the reports they were getting in. Yeah, I don't know. But I stayed up right through that night, fucking just like reeling from just like seeing what's gonna happen. And then it happens, and they call it, and you're like, it was almost immediate for me. I was like, fuck, all right, because it's just I'm so tired of it.
Yeah,
I'm just so tired of it. It's like a bitter marriage. It's like if you're like with someone for like 30 years and you just argued for so long, and then eventually you don't argue anymore. He's like, You just see them in the morning. You're like,
Yeah.
God damn, I just want the Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I got to see your stupid fucking face. Like I think that's what it is. It's like an old miserable marriage with the state of politics.
Yeah. My wife made me turn it off the night of.
Turn it off.
Yeah. Well, she works for the state. She's a public defender.
Yeah.
So like who's in office has real world consequences on her job.
Sure, policies.
Yep.
So criminal offenses.
Yeah. So I think she was like anxious enough about it. So she was like, let's just turn it off. Let's just watch a movie. Like we watched whatever. And then we woke up the next morning and, I immediately went to grab my phone and she was like, no. She was like, let's just enjoy this. And we lay in bed for like 20 minutes, just like laughing and talking. And then we're like, all right, let's find out what happened.
Yeah.
But it was a great 20 minutes. It was like, it was like just this not knowing.
Trauma binding.
Yeah.
Bonding. I think like the whole world is embracing, depending on what side you believe in, for like a great night of sex or a horrible night of sex. And they're like, it's going to be over at some point. You know what I mean? Like that's the anticipation. Like Trumpers are going into it like, oh, I can't believe I bagged this hot one again. I can't believe she actually gave me a chance again.
Yeah.
I'm going to finally do this again. And everyone on the other side is like, I really don't want to take it up the ass.
all the things that I was so...
But it'll be over. The point is, on both sides, is you're going to acknowledge it's going to be over. Either this amazing, mind-blowing sex is going to happen and it'll be over and then I'm going to miss it. Or, God damn it, I just got to like close my eyes and think of a different person.
Just go to my happy place.
Go to my happy place while this dude rails me up my ass for the next 4 years.
It's funny. Like all the shit.
For some people, that is their happy place.
All the shit that had me so fired up in the first. I'm like, I just don't even care.
You don't even care anymore.
Yeah, it's like.
Yeah.
And now they're like, oh, all of these charges are going to get dropped. I'm like, yeah, that's what happens with rich white dudes. All right, so it's just another one,
Right. It's pretty much how that goes anyway.
Yeah. This rapist is getting away with it. Yeah, most rapists get away with it. Sucks.
Most rapists do get away with it. Most rapists don't even get the original charges that he got.
Yeah.
I know. It's kind of like everyone wants to see this. Like, there's only, really, in the history of the world, there's only been a few fucking cases that can't be ignored of the uber rich and powerful really getting their fucking day in court and be, you think of like Bernie Madoff. Think of like Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
That's not a common story.
Harvey Weinstein.
Harvey Weinstein. Yeah. When it's so overwhelmingly like obvious that these people did these things and the court wants to make an example of these people. Do you know how many Harvey Weinsteins are still fucking out there? Do you know how many Jeffrey Epsteins probably? That one is not as obvious, like that's a extreme. But how many, right? Like that is the way what is happening with him is the way it typically goes. Granted, they don't all become president and exonerate themselves that way. He went a different way. It was creative path. Like I'll give him that. But like, that is typically what happens with powerful people is they get off. If any charges are ever brought to them, they pay their way out of it, or they just have enough connections to where it makes it like it influences what happens in court. So, it's not, there are very few Weinsteins, Epsteins, and Madoffs.
Yeah.
In terms of like actually being punished for, dude, the majority of American corporations, it's like this United Healthcare dude who got shot, right? The majority of American corporations are led by clinically psychopathic people who are obviously like bottom line. Capital is bottom line is it rules everything. It's about revenue, and that's all that matters. And people will literally be crushed or killed in these people and these companies' path to greatness. That is typically what happens. So this guy from United Healthcare gets fucking capped by one of my cousins, I think. I'm pretty sure it's one of my cousins.
That is so crazy. It is so, like, that is when you saw this dude get just blown away in broad daylight, and like a good chunk of the country is fucking celebrating.
Yeah.
And it's like,
could you imagine that being you? Like, I mean, obviously he's dead, but like, could you imagine, or like that's like your husband or something? Like everyone's like, good. Good.
Yeah, that's what you get. But here's how insanely apathetic this country has become. Like, not only does this dude get blown away in broad daylight, but the hostel where the killer was staying, the police come to talk to them. Like, hey, we think this dude may have been staying here. So they cooperate with a police investigation. Yeah. This hostel gets flooded with 1-star reviews on Google and Yelp.
Right. And you fucking snitches.
You fucking narc. Yeah. McDonald's, the dude for McDonald's turns him in.
Yeah.
And McDonald's gets flooded. And now people are boycotting McDonald's to the point where Burger King tweets out a picture of a Whopper and says, we don't snitch. And
yeah. So in the end, what Burger King is saying is, we support the murder of this dude.
Yeah. Burger King's like, hey, you wanna kill a healthcare CEO and hang out here?
I'll give it to them as a former creative director. That in terms of branding, that is a boss fucking move. That is a badass fucking tweet.
Whoever came up with that tweet should either have been fired or promoted as high as they could have been promoted, and there's like no middle ground. Like,
you should be fired and given a company. You can't work here because that's crazy, but you might be
here. We're gonna give you Arby's. You can run Arby's now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
do you know what I was thinking? Do you know what was so funny to me?
I think it helps that the guy was like kind of attractive.
Well, you know what was so funny to me about this story?
His unibrow. Like that everyone in my family was born with that same eyebrow.
He probably would still be out there because let's face it, not too many people were looking for him.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh no.
They get his face all over TV because he's wearing a face mask.
Yeah.
So he's trying to disguise himself.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about the power of pussy. Okay?
Yeah.
This guy is at the hostel or wherever he was, and there's a cute lady working the front desk who tells him, oh, you look cute. Let me see your face. Yeah. And this dude, knowing there's cameras everywhere in the city, knowing he's about to go blow somebody away in broad daylight.
He's like, I still want to flirt.
Is like, oh, maybe there's some pussy at the end of this rainbow. And pulls his mask down and gives the world a clear view because like a cute lady asked him to.
Yeah,
can you imagine planning everything out to the point where you're writing on the bullets, like eat, pray, love, like whatever it was on the bullets. And then some hot chick's like, hey, can you blow all of this for a chance at me? And he was like,
yes, if you blow all of this. The dude looks like, I mean, that dude is so Italian looking. Like that dude looks like if he would have shot someone, they would have dropped a crate of oranges. You know? You remember that scene in Godfather where he stumbles and the oranges go flying, they focus on the oranges? That's what it looks like this guy should be shooting. You should be shooting like an old mob boss. Like he's the guy who walked into the last scene of The Sopranos and probably killed Tony Soprano. Not the United Healthcare. I mean, this guy is a vigilante in a way, right? Like, because if you think about what the kind of person he killed, I mean, you could just be like, oh, that's a CEO or just like a businessman. It's not just a businessman. Listen, insurance companies, I've been through it myself. I've seen a lot of people go through it. Very close to me. You pay for insurance. And the way it is these days is that you do not get the help when you need it.
Right.
I mean, blanket across the board. If something serious happens to you, the insurance companies will fuck you in some way. You will not get something you need. Medicines will be declined, and they'll give you some reason why it's declined. Hasn't been on the market long enough. It's like, but it's FDA approved. So why can't, like, I went through that.
Yeah.
I literally couldn't get a medicine that was FDA approved on the market. I was watching TV ads for a medicine that I was not allowed to take because the insurance said it hasn't been, like, the insurance treated it like I said, all right, I want people to, like, zap my insides with lasers and see what happens. Like, it was like the insurance was treating it like I came up with the fucking treatment. Like, they were like, you can't, it's not
Like
really
we went there
proven.
with a PowerPoint of like, here's how I think I can cure myself.
Yeah, I just watched a fucking ad where somebody's supposedly on this medicine frolicking through the woods.
Yeah. Look,
And they're
this
the
lady's
happiest-
riding a horse
Yeah.
on this medicine.
You know what
She's
I'm seeing this lady do is ride a horse. You know what I'm seeing her not do? Shit her pants. and I can't have this medicine because it's not been on the market. If it hasn't been on the market long enough, why is it like and your excuse as an insurance company is because it hasn't been on the market long enough, we can't really cover it. Why the fuck is it approved and being prescribed? So that just goes to show you, like, the pharmaceutical companies and the insurance companies are both like looking for their revenue. You know what I mean? And people fold hospitals into this too, but I think hospitals are just kind of part of the domino effect. You know?
Yeah.
I think but these companies do not give a fuck about you as long as they're all making their fucking money.
Yeah.
So in the end, I went through like a whole summer of not getting this prescription. I was on like a steroid to hold me over months. I was incapacitated. I fucking leave my house for fucking months. I was withering away. I was deficient of everything, because I just was not fucking well. And I've seen it with older, elderly people not being able to go into like rehab centers and they get stuck and then just staying in a hospital. Because the insurance will cover like their hospital stay, but the insurance won't cover like a rehab center. Yeah, I'm talking about elderly people with like broken hips. It's like, so it's like you look at all that shit. I feel like these days everyone knows someone who's getting fucked over by their insurance. You know somebody with cancer. You know somebody with someone who needs it, who's not getting it, who pays their fucking premiums and all the shit they need to pay monthly through their job or whatever care they have. They're paying. And they're being paid. Isn't that – there was like an old Chris Rock bit about this, about the isn't insurance supposed to be the in case shit happens, But his point was like, shouldn't you get your money back if nothing happens? But the point is you're paying it. And these days you don't even get the fucking care. So the whole world feels that. The whole country feels that pain with insurance companies. So this guy gets gunned down and you're like, good.
Nobody
Right? Because you're like the guy – I mean, really – how many people probably die because of insurance companies withholding? Right?
I mean,
people die from it.
You would
people
imagine,
don't get or horrible quality of life.
Yeah, you would imagine. I would imagine like tens of thousands every month.
Yeah, probably die and maybe even more so go through a really bad time, which also creates a financial stress and all this other shit because then you have to come out of pocket for things. It's
But now, like I saw, but it's just so. I'm scrolling through threads last night.
The headline that Kuhn had pulled up. Luigi Mangione prosecutors have a jury problem. Just so much sympathy.
So much sympathy.
So much sympathy.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Can you imagine this dude gets off because people are just like, fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm scrolling through threads last night. And I'm reading something from a comedian who goes,
"That's your first
yeah."
Mistake.
He's like, "No wonder CEOs are going to become an endangered species. Let me tell you about my experience with Eventbrite." And he goes on.
What?
He goes on to talk about how he had done a comedy show through Eventbrite, and they owed him few $1,000s, and then he didn't get it right away. There was some kind of snag, and then they wanted him, and then he had paid like a 3% fee in order to get his money quicker, and then the money didn't come when it was supposed to, and now he's like, now I can't buy Christmas presents on time, and It wasn't until I tweeted at them that I was able to get the fee reversed, but I still don't know if I'm going to have my money by Christmas. And it's like, okay, hold on. So now you want the CEO of Eventbrite to catch a bullet because you didn't get your fucking $3,000
Yeah, that's not
week.
the same.
Yeah, it's not.
You always leave it up to a goddamn comedian. Holy fuck. To fucking make a world event about their dumb fucking world.
About their dumb bar show.
Like, could you fucking, the narcissism that has to be apparent in your fucking brain for you to take that event and go, same.
Yep. Yeah.
Same. I got my money, but it just took a minute. Like, what? That's not the fucking same, dude. You probably also fucked something up and didn't read the terms and conditions. Like, or maybe they fucked up, but that's not the same. But it's, it's kind of like when this was more like directly comedy related. But you remember how annoying everyone was after Will Smith smacked Chris Rock?
Yeah.
How everyone was like, "Whoa, it's fucking open season on the comics," and I think there was like one incident.
Yeah.
Maybe. Right, someone had like a beer can thrown at them, and then, by the way, I forgot her name. She got like huge after that.
Yeah,
that clip blew up her career.
I know.
It was the best fucking beer throw ever. The best.
Well, it was her reaction. Yeah, her reaction.
Yeah.
And the way she reacted to it, she deserved to blow up after that.
For sure. But I'm just saying that's a fortunate, horrible thing.
Someone sent me a clip where someone did something similar. That they threw a beer at this dude on stage.
Yeah.
And it hit him in the chest. And he immediately, like, instead of doing something funny with it, he immediately was like, it's you fucking cunt. That's assault. And it's like, like maybe 400 people saw the video. He was just like, someone throw them out. That's assault. I'm just trying to tell jokes. And it's like, you didn't handle that. That lady handled it perfectly.
Right. Yeah. She handled it like no fucking big deal, right? She should pick it up and drink it. Right? Yeah. But it's like but the way you're saying this guy reacted was the way kind of people were talking online. They're just absolutely fucking freaking out.
Well, I mean,
a movie star slapped.
Oh yeah.
The world's biggest comedian. Right? Like, it's not the same. I'm not saying, like, listen, my point is I've been threatened for fucking decades. Like, it just doesn't, it's not that new to do what we do and run into some shit.
Yeah.
Maybe it was I agree. There probably was a little pop of incidents at the time. I'm certainly not saying that it's okay to fucking go and hit a comedian or a performer of any sort. But if you're going to, like, hit a Broadway actor. Like, I mean, God damn it. Like, all the razzle dazzle and the jazz fingers, like, how doesn't that irritate you? You know what? It's the audience. The audience now that I'm saying it, like, an audience at a comedy show, just some drunk dude who, like, had a bad day and someone dragged him to a comedy show. It's not quite, the Broadway audience who paid $300 a ticket.
Right,
were like,
yeah.
I'm so into this. I've been listening to the album for 4 weeks.
Yeah, nobody's like, fuck it, let's just go see Hamilton tonight. That's a very specific thing that people badly want to do. But comedy people are just like, man, all right, fuck it. And it's also funny.
I mean, what Hamilton did to rap, what insurance companies have done to healthcare. So if anything,
I remember when my dad was alive. He loved Hamilton. And he was playing me the soundtrack.
The original Hamilton, the actual Hamilton.
Yeah. And he was like, oh, Kenny, you're gonna love this. It's rap music, but it's about American history.
The idea that your dad still thinks of you as like this young kid. Like, oh, this is your music, I think.
Yeah,
right?
Well, he knew I liked rap, so I guess he figured he'd give it a shot.
The kids are watching us.
He was like, oh, but he's like, they rap about like American history and slavery, and it teaches you so much. And then I was like, hey, Dad, if you like that, let me play you some Public Enemy, because they do the same thing.
They do the same thing. Right. Do you ever listen to Tupac?
20 seconds of Public Enemy, and my dad was like, turn this off.
Yeah, you're just not listening. All right, Ken, do you have anything to plug, by the way? I don't have anything to plug. Do we have anything to plug?
When's this coming out?
I don't know.
I have rubbed off on you. Like, this is not
You texted me yesterday. I owed you, or the dude 2 days ago. I owed you some social media clips for you to for the show to post, and I usually send those over to you. And you were like, "Yeah, I really need you to be." Oh no, you called me. You're like, "I really need you to be on top of your shit. I didn't sign up to be with another person like me."
Yeah, I'm not trying to work with me. That's frustrating.
Yeah, I'm trying not to work with you.
Send your shit.
No, this will be like mid-January.
Oh, all right then. Yes. I'm going to be with the very funny Dave Landau,
nice,
who's also going to be coming in soon for us.
Yeah.
Last weekend in January 31st, February 1st, you can come see us at the Dojo of Comedy in North Jersey.
Love the Dojo.
Yeah. It's an amazing club.
Yeah.
It's intimate, so tickets are on sale. Get them before they're sold out because I'm sure it will sell out.
It's a club that just does it right, I think, you know?
They do everything right at that club. Yeah. That's why comics love it.
Yeah,
that's why you find so many comics talking about it.
It's a great, that's a good point. It's a great place for comics, and because it's a great place for like I think even internally, it just comics love being there because they get treated right, and because of that, I mean, you're seeing it. Like the comics that show up are pretty great because they love being there. That's if you're a comedy fan, it's like listen to the clubs comics talk about and go there.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Don't get duped into, if you're walking down Times Square and somebody's like, free tickets to a comedy show. Just do a minute of research and see if anyone's ever talked about it. You remember that? Do you remember those? I don't even think there's many around anymore, but there used to be a bunch of fucking weird ass comedy clubs right out of Times Square.
Yes. I remember one of them stopping me once trying to sell me tickets. I forget if it was Caroline's when they were there.
Yeah.
Or
Caroline's is legit.
Yeah, no, but a lot of those ticket guys aren't.
Oh, right. Yeah.
But I remember.
Even the legit ones, though, even the you get barked because that's what they call it, barking, appropriately so, because it's the goddamn most annoying, aggressive thing in the world. You get barked for it's a real club, but not a good one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But I remember the guy was like, "Oh, comedy this weekend," and he was throwing all these names at me. And I was like, "Oh, I like Ken Krantz. Does he ever play there? Look, he's going to be there this weekend." I was like, "Fuck you."
That's pretty funny. It was a low moment for me. I got barked on a show I was on for a show I was on that night. I was on my way to the club.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
I was like, "You don't know who's on the show, do you? We're greatest comedians in New York City," whatever their line was, and I'm like, "I can assure you, not." Also, you don't know who's on the show, you piece of shit, because I'm walking to do my spot right now.
That's so funny. Yeah. I was doing a bar show, and this dude didn't believe I was a comedian on the show and was trying to charge me a cover, and I was like, "If you just turn your head and look at the flyer, my fucking face is on it." And he was the dude who ran the show had to come out and tell him. Yeah.
I'm going to say this one thing and then we'll wrap. Do you remember there was a place called the Times Square Art Center? It was like a performing arts center, but it basically became a comedy club at some point. And this place had been a lot of things. They had a main showroom, but they had a little weird showroom upstairs that definitely was a strip club because when you were on the stage, you saw the filled hole, like a corked filled hole where the pole used to fuck. A lot of filled holes. But there was the floor had a covered up hole. It was taped over and shit. Corked and taped over of where the stripper pole used to come down.
That's so funny.
And anyway, when I walked into the wrong entrance, and downstairs, I guess they used to have peep shows. And I walked to it was my first time there, and I walked to the wrong entrance, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm here for the show." Thinking of and he's like, "All right, that'll be $15. It's for an hour." And I was like, "Oh, the show's longer than well, I'm not. No, I'm a performer." And he's like, "No, you're not." and he was like, "Stop fucking with me. It's $15. You want to come in?" And I was like, "Wait, what?" I was like, "I'm on the show." And then you could see his eyes went from aggressive to "Wait a minute." He was like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "I'm a comic." He's like, "Oh, around the fucking he's like, "I gotta deal with fucking jizz stained t-shirts all night. Get the fuck out of here." He'd actually, the fucked up thing is he would rather have spoken to one of those creepy guys who go see a to Peep Show than a comic. He's like, you're bothering me. Let me get back to the pervs who actually go to Peep Shows.
Oh, that's so funny.
All right, it's a bit too much podcast on all the
next week.
socials. See ya. Bye, everyone. Bye.